Right. He's so economical. Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then starts to figure holes out. And the way he can explode and move in with one shot, my God.
No, all-time great heavyweights, all right? And it shouldn't be. But he's sparring the level of heavyweight that, more experienced than Jake Paul, right? But Jake Paul has beaten those heavyweights himself.
I was just like, I don't know, probably this was a good thing, us fighting. Because you have someone that we come from two different sides, like, of the world. We still on the same path to get the same thing. I got to be in there with him. I got to be able to, his arm reach, his size, his power, the way he moving and things like that. I just got to adapt as I fight him. I think it's going to be a great event. Every time I fight is fireworks. Boxing wins. Come November the 14th. We just giving boxing what it needs, and that's excitement.
Gervonta Davis issued a chilling warning to Jake Paul on the Joe Rogan podcast, declaring their upcoming fight is no longer entertainment. It's a chance at redemption to silence critics, reclaim his dominance after the Roach draw, and prove he still belongs among boxing's elite.
First off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, because that's all for entertainment. What is it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, So, it's money-making purposes only.
Actually ever been, because I know how good these people are that I'm sparring, and being able to see how good they are and knowing how good Tank is. It's actually going to be my toughest test to date.
Yeah, I think, Jake, you could make the argument, right? Pound for pound wise, this guy's the most ferocious dude in the whole sport. Couldn't you?
For sure. I think he has probably one of the highest knockout percentages.
In 90-something%. Right?
Exactly. And just his speed, his elusiveness, his ring IQ, his conditioning, he's gone 12 rounds so many different times, something that I've never even done. So he's going to be sharp all the way through. I mean, the list goes on. And so just actually being vulnerable for a second, it's like, this is crazy. This is scary. It's kind of keeping me up at night.
Jake, how do you prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you? How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions, Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to like lose some muscle so that I have less weight. And
Paul has admitted that his upcoming fight against Gervonta Davis is the toughest challenge of his career, acknowledging Davis's elite skill, power, and experience despite his own size and reach. Jake Paul's rise has been fueled by spectacle and crossover marketing, but facing Gervonta Davis marks his toughest challenge yet.
Davis, what can you tell me about that? What can you tell me about why Jake and Anthony has maybe been put to the side for now?
Yeah, they always told us that it was, we were looking at that fight for February of next year, and they always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I know I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round. I don't know what it is, but I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. However you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do.
Paul has enlisted 3-division world champion Shaka Stevenson to elevate his training, focusing on speed, precision, and ring IQ ahead of his clash with Gervonta Davis.
Great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast.
The fight's getting really weird. Gervonta looks scared for his life because the rules are out. They're crazy. Oh, so everyone thought that the fight was at 190. It was 190. Instead it's at 195, and this weight difference is scaring the life out of Little Tank.
Over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The next dispute comes with the gloves. Little Tank is used to fighting in 8-ounce gloves. Baby glove. This fight will be in 12. Hands might be too small. Also, Tank just fought in a 12 3-minute round fight against Roach. Yes, and now he's fighting in 10 3-minute rounds, which isn't too bad. Well done, Jake. Exhibition though, can he win? Yes, he can actually win. It will be overlooked by 3 sanctioned judges. So he can actually still win and knock him out. But here's the trick. It's body punches only. And there's a reason. That's because Tank said, look, this is a bit unfair. I don't want to punch up. I want to punch at my head height. Where does it fall? At Jake Paul's belly. Oof. So apparently we've heard there's no knockdown rules, but aside from that, it's a pretty well-rounded fight. Oh yeah, and there's some drug testing involved. But Jake Paul for the win.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition.
Why does it matter?
What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these restrictions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got
Davis's trainer over the unusual 12-ounce gloves. An exhibition format. The fight will proceed with 10 3-minute rounds under the chance to expose Jake Paul's cherry-picked record and prove his own dominance.
With fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight? And those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see.
Commentator Wade Plemons calls Jake Paul a master manipulator who uses fame, ego, and mind games to control the narrative and lure Gervonta Davis into a fight that's as much spectacle as competition.
I like when it's all said and done, and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you, and that's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man. It's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not. I got no. I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn!
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna
victory unless he's landing the right jab, grab, breathe. Meanwhile, Tank is downloading, collecting timestamps. Ever see a big guy wrestle? Yeah, those first few minutes looks like a forklift, but by minute 5, forklift needs a nap. Can a forklift catch a fly? Only if the fly gets lazy. Jake's body will be open, especially after mid-fight when hands start sinking. And when the guard starts to wither away, so will the chin. Body shots don't ask permission, they collect rent. Liver! You don't need to be a heavyweight to fold a man who's exhaling. A small, sharp guy versus a taller frame, seen it 100 times. You touch torso early, you tag shoulders late. The high
Fight has ignited a generational debate between purists who see boxing as an art form and those who see it as entertainment. But one thing's certain, it has everyone talking.
Again, Jake's only been boxing for 5, 6, 7 years now. It isn't necessarily far-fetched to try to have his own advantages when trying to fight other boxers that have been far more experienced than him. But this one's a little too much, right? This one is crazy because of the massive weight difference. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, as far as a sport fight is concerned, I want to make sure I make that clear. Again, this is not me hating on it, because I do think that both guys have been very upfront with what they're doing in this fight and what their goals are with these kind of events. But the narrative Jake's trying to create as if this is like proving anything for him fighting a real fighter when Gervonta is so much smaller than he is. It'll prove something in the fact that Jake is willing to put on great events, but it won't prove anything to the people that are asking him to fight a real fighter. I will say though, if Jake goes out and flatlines Gervonta, the casual audience that will say Gervonta smokes Jake completely and utterly, like it wouldn't even be close, that will change their minds a little bit. Not the people that know boxing, but the people that are going to watch this, the casual viewer that know the name Gervonta Davis and know the name Jake Paul. If he is to compete with Gervonta at all or look good in that fight, people will in some way accept that. Or they'll do the other thing where they just say the
time. I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face, yeah, they're gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. Would you say number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean, that's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the two style matchups. And I mean, but if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it. But it is kind of crazy. It is kind of corny. You know what I'm saying? If he not gonna fight Shakur, and if he's standing on it like I'm not ever gonna fight you, I'm not doing you no favors. And all right. But then again, you know what? I don't know what them guys got going on. I don't know what they've been through personally. You know what I'm saying? But would I love to see that fight? Hell yeah, I would love to see that fight. And then number 3, you said what? You said
retirement.
The retirement. Oh, boxing. Boxing. They around. They around. It's always gloves around. It's on you. It's on you. I'm chilling. You all right? Yeah, get with me. I know. How you feel? Dark skin boy. That's my man. The retirement is like he done a lot in his career, right?